Last example, example 4. The question says, what number needs to be added to these expressions to complete the square? Well, what does that mean? Well, when I'm completing the square, perfect square, remember, is if I've got a plus b equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Alright, it's basically asking for what is my b squared number here to add so I can write this like this. Okay, now remember, I'm not using a and b. What's my a going to be here? My a is actually going to be x, isn't it? Okay, so realistically what I've got is, and I'm going to write this probably backwards to help you see what we're doing, I'm going to have in my bracket, instead of a, I'm going to put an x. In my bracket as well, I don't know what my b is, so I'm going to write b squared. So I have my x squared, I have my 4x, and I have my b squared. Now, all we need to find out is what b is, and the key is a middle term here, because we know that this is 2ab. Now I know that our a is our x, and we know that equals 4x here, so I know that 2 times x times b equals 4x. If we ignore the x's because the x's match up, we end up with 2b equals 4, so b equals 2. So that means our expansion will now look like this. X plus 2 all squared will equal x squared plus 4x plus our b squared, which is 2 squared, which is 4. So the question was, what number needs to be added to these expressions to complete the square? The answer is 4. We have to add 4 to that, and then we can factorize it. Well, I'm not going to talk about factorizing, that's in another lesson. We're going back to our brackets, and we can write it as x plus 2 as a perfect square. Alright, similar with question B, except it's a little bit harder, of course. Now, let's write it out the same way. So we have an x squared minus 7x. What are we going to add here? Remember, if it's in a perfect square form, this has to be a b squared, and it has to come out to be this particular form where you've got a bracket squared. Now, with my bracket squared, I know that is my a term, so I'm going to just sneak in the x there. I know there's a minus here, so there has to be a minus here, just like our minus version. Remember, our minus version looks like this. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So if we have a minus in our bracket, we have a minus in our expression. I've got a minus in our expression, so we have to have a minus in our bracket. And this is our b term, which we're missing. So our middle term here, which is our 2ab term, is going to be 2ab equals 7x. Now I know that my a is x, so I can write this as 2 times x times b equals 7x. This x and this x are the same, so I can just look at the numbers. 2b equals 7, therefore b equals 7 on 2. So this 7 on 2 will be in here, and my b squared is going to be 49 on 4. Okay, so my perfect square expression will look like this. X minus 7 on 2 squared equals x squared minus 7x plus 49 on 4. So the question was, what number needs to be added to these expressions to complete the square? Well, I have to actually add this number here, 49 on 4, which means we can rewrite this as a perfect square bracket. Can be a little tough, okay, but let's see how you go with question 7.